Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to Drinkin' Bros, kids. You heard about the guy behind the guy from Vince Vaughn and Swingers. We've got the guy behind the guy who's doing all your favorite products out there in America. Geoffrey Woo is back on the show. How are you, buddy?
Ross, Dan, good to be back, man.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how long it's been. It may have been 2 years.
Yeah.
Now.
Has it really?
It's crazy.
Yeah, we live in this studio, so I don't really know. I feel like you were just here maybe a couple months ago. Has it been 2 years?
It's been a minute, but I see you guys crushing it. I'm following all the adventures that you guys are going for. So
Thank you very much.
it just feels like we're just right back in the swing of things.
I know, and we've all got a bunch of mutual friends, and everybody I talk to, they're like, oh, hey, do you know so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so? Yeah. Once you kind of get in this space, in this world, I feel like everybody knows each other. Chris Hunter was just here talking about Koya.
Yep.
He's one of your investors, I believe, in Ketone IQ.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, he was my college roommate, and he invented Four Loko.
Yes.
And yeah, so.
It was the 25th of January, 2023, so a year and a half ago.
Okay.
A little over a year and
I
a
don't
half.
feel that bad then, all right? If it's over 2 years, then I feel bad about it. We'll talk about Ketone IQ in a second, but the new product is bomb, dude. This is W deodorant. You've seen it everywhere. Jake Paul, Sugar Sean O'Malley, all those guys are using it, doing crazy commercials, popping out of bathtubs and fights and all that other stuff. It's wild.
Yeah.
This seems like it just took off overnight.
I mean, when you have Jake as the founder of the company, it's like, well, I think something that we feel strongly about is that it feels that young men just don't have true role models anymore. I feel like we've been so just brought out in terms of all these different social issues, which I think are all fine and great. Mm-hmm. But if you actually look at the demographics, young men are struggling. Those role models for masculinity, I think you have people like Andrew Tate, who probably is arguably not an ideal role model. You have people like Jordan Peterson. But what is a type of young men that we want to see in the world? And I think Jake Paul has a very strong perspective on that, where hard work ethic, winning, a positive mindset is something important for him and important for us. So for us, it's like a very easy cultural brand to be behind. Can we bring back a little bit of that blue collar work ethic, winning, get a little bit bloody and sweaty, like the stuff that we grew up on?
Yeah, and then beyond the branding too, you say young men are struggling. One of the reasons they're struggling is because the average 21-year-old in America today has the same level of testosterone that his grandfather had 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like 65-year-old.
Yeah.
And this product happens to have no parabens or artificial dye, any of the endocrine disruptors that you find in literally every men's grooming product.
Correct.
I mean, it is wild how much weird shit. We've got plastic in our fucking balls now.
Yes.
Unacceptable, right?
Yeah, but it is changing, and I'll say this, and like a lot of it's come from podcasts. I've mentioned Rogan in the past in regards to this.
I mean, with the hunting and the meat
Dan as well, yeah. With fresh meats, hunting, going out and doing your own things, trying to find, like, even Hard AF Seltzer is all natural. This is vitamin infused. Like, you're trying to get rid of the processed bullshit out of your life,
and it's made in the USA where you can actually control what goes into it.
Yeah.
Because this stuff that says assembled in the USA or any of this other bullshit or packaged in, those are all code words for made in a place where they don't have regulations. You know what I mean?
Right. And with the Paul brothers, it's such an interesting case to me because they started off hated. Some would say some of them still are, potentially, but they've driven that into these crazy, unbelievable business ventures with Prime. Jake with the deodorants, and he's also with Celsius as well.
Yep.
And for me, looking back at all of it, I think the turning point was the suicide video in the trees for Logan. And then he kind of had a moment where he was like, what am I doing with my life, it seems like. Now, you know him better than we do, obviously, but it seemed like that was the turning point of like, all right, how do I spin everything that I'm doing into a positive fashion and then grow brands and businesses and everything else so I'm not just the guy on YouTube that people love to hate?
Yep. Yeah, I think it's actually very interesting because I look at it very academically on how they evolved. I think the thing with most celebrities is that I think if you're in that spotlight of attention, everyone thinks you're awesome, everyone just pumping up all the time, you think you're untouchable, one. And then two, I think very few people realize how fleeting celebrity is. So the fact that Logan essentially got canceled and arguably could have had his career destroyed was like kind of a resurrection moment for him.
It really was.
And I think that Jake, because they're just brothers, half the country thinks they're the same person, right? Like I get people ask me about Prime or Logan half the time, and it's just like it's just a joke that like, hey, I'm Logan. They just pretend to be each other, when we're out. But I think if you face that adversity very early and you can overcome it, you get the wisdom of like a middle-aged man or like an old monk. Because I think very few people see mortality. I think you get that through combat in war. I think you get a lot of wisdom when you actually face mortality, what actually you can do with your very short life. And I think aside from war, right, I think being a celebrity, being canceled on social media, obviously very lightweight. But there is some sense of ego death when you look at everything you've built up. Yeah. You look at it, you're like, oh, all the stuff that I worked really hard for, even might be a social media following that might seem trivial, but it's still very important for someone who's like, that's their entire life.
Well, yeah.
That forces wisdom.
Consequences are a big part of life.
Yeah.
They're very important. You see, and it's from the micro to the macro level in your own personal life. If you don't create consequences for yourself, then you will fail. If you don't create left and right limits, guardrails, whatever you want to call it. And the best macro example is government versus private business, right? I talked about this last week. If FEMA fucks up and fails at something, what happens? Nothing.
Yeah.
They get funded just like they would have otherwise. If one of your business does something stupid, then
no one's bailing
now
us
it's a
out.
problem, right?
Yeah.
Now it's a problem. Those consequences matter, and it's why private industry is always better. But it's not just because private industry is better. The reason is because there are actual consequences there. And that's what makes everything. It's the adage, iron sharpens iron. That's what it means.
Yes.
Right? So when I get into a gunfight, I know if I don't win, then that's it for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even at the lower level, you say it's not the same, but the principle is the same.
Yeah.
Right? If you see that there's something to lose, this is the duality, the dichotomy of life, in my opinion. You have the thing that you chase and the thing that chases you. And if you're smart enough, if you're capable enough, you can put the thing that chases you behind you and let it chase you effectively, and then you run after whatever it is you hope for. For us, usually combat people, the thing that scares us is letting our men down or letting our family down or whatever. We don't care about dying, right? We care about failing the people around us. So you put that behind you and you let it chase you, and then you look to the future like, okay, well, here's the life I want to live, and I'm going to chase that. And now, right, this is, by the way, not to get too crazy about it, but this is the way we think we might be able to travel faster in light, is to manipulate gravity behind and in front of the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like this principle might go even to the quantum level at some point. So all the way down to the very smallest thing, and then all the way up to the very largest thing we can think of. That's what we mean when we say a first principle. Because that is something that is true no matter what the circumstance.
And to your point about famous fleeting, as a Hollywood guy, I saw it out there. And as far as actors go, the people who didn't take it seriously or thought it would last forever, which is probably 90% of them, in all sincerity, 90% of them think they're going to be famous forever. All the shit's going to be awesome. And then it gets taken away, and they have no idea what to do with their life.
Correct.
I hate to bring up that kid from One Direction, who just passed away 2 days ago. But with him, we just found out this morning that the record label had canceled his deal 4 days before, and that's kind of what led him down that path of being erratic and drugs and relapsing, and then ultimately taking his own life. But I think you got to sit down with these kids and say, look, try to monetize what you can during these moments, because it is not going to last forever. Even on podcasts, like, we're rad now. We've been top 40 for 9 consecutive years, and it's an amazing feat. However, I still feel like every day, if I don't put on the best show there is, it could be gone tomorrow.
100%.
And that's the way it should be with all walks of life, not just entertainment, but businesses as well. But then you got to know when to get out. And you and I were chatting about this before the show of, when do you sell? When is the fame gone and everything else? We'll start with Jake, first of all.
Or when to pivot, which is what
right.
they've been really good at. Jake and Logan both have actually been really good at that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that now. So we're giving away a signed Mike Tyson boxing glove here for the night from mybookie.com. We're having a bet to see who's going to win that fight. and Jake Paul is fighting him live on
sir.
Netflix.
Yep.
If you would have told me that Disney kid would grow up, become a boxer who's pretty legit, and now is going to fight on Netflix for the entire world to see against Mike Tyson, I don't give a shit how old he is. You watch him train, it's really fucking scary.
Still Mike Tyson.
It's still Mike Tyson. And they interviewed Mike the other day, and I don't know if you saw it, but he said, they were like, oh, how do you think you're going to do in the fight? And he goes, look, at 59, I can knock him the fuck out. The problem is, can I catch him? So he goes, if he runs around for 8 rounds, I don't know that I'll be able to do it. Just because physically, cardio-wise, I don't know that I'll be able to catch him. If he stays in and tries to fight me like I want to, he will be knocked out cold. And I'm sure you've had that conversation with Jake. I mean, when you walk into that ring, it's Mike Tyson fucking staring at you. What has he said to you?
Good. Yeah. I think the observation is 100% correct. I mean, originally, I don't think I'm sharing secret news at this point. Originally, it's going to be an exhibition. Mm-hmm. It was going to be more of a, hey, let's put on a show, be friendly, make a lot of money together. Cool. Mike Tyson wanted it to be a sanctioned pro fight. And Jake's like, I got to kill him now. Because he knows that Mike Tyson will try to kill him in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I think you're spot on in terms of the game plan. I think both sides know what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. Obviously, I know Jake is. I think people still underestimate how much resources and dedication Jake puts into his training, right? Like most boxers do not have the infrastructure or the funds to have multiple full-time specialists and coaches 24/7.
No, they're fighting.
expensive.
They're fighting trying to get rich. He's already rich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, I think that's the way that you think about Jake. He is legit multi-millionaire, has infinite resources compared to a normal boxer, and he's putting his camps are expensive.
Yeah.
So he's 3 full-time boxing coaches, full-time strength and conditioning. He brings in biohacking, meditation, breathwork coaches, stretching coaches. So I think the fulsome documentary of how much effort he puts into training, I think is still underestimated. I've seen NFL locker rooms and their S&C programs. I've seen some of the military, elite units and their protocols. Right? Jake just buys all of that shit and has specialists working with them on everything.
And it's essentially what LeBron does as well, right?
Yeah.
When you have that much money and you have to spend it on your body, you got to spend it on the time to be great. And to your point, one of our best friends is Tim Kennedy.
Yep.
We were at one of his last fights, and after he lost, I was like, what's a paycheck look like for you after this? And he goes, dude, I got to pay the training camp and everything else. And he goes, I walk away with $27,000 from a UFC fight, which he just, gave his fucking all to and lost, and you're like, God damn, $27,000. Now with this, it's a different story because it's on Netflix. I don't know how much they're making. There's a rumor that each of them are getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 50 a piece for it.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're gonna do great.
I'm sure they are. But if the fight lives up to the hype of it, it's going to extend their brands even further. Have you thought about if Jake loses, what it's going to do to the companies that you guys are partnered in?
Yeah, it's clearly bad.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think a lot of people. That's at least my opinion. A lot of people say, "Hey, there's no shame at losing to Mike Tyson, etc." I mean, I think people love winners, and I think the most important thing that Jake can do for business is to win. You maintain relevancy. He does have world championship dreams. Mm-hmm. So it's all right, if you're losing to an aging superstar, do you really have a path?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But again, I think it's if he does, end up, unfortunately, let's not put that energy into the air, but his track record of pivoting, evolving, I think is very strong. I think he's going to make money in fights and beyond. But it's I think he knows that hey, he's supposed to, he has to win. He should win.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way, and it'll be interesting to watch. It's down in Dallas. Obviously, it was postponed from over the summer.
Come through.
I know we've been talking about it. Yeah. Our travel schedule's been crazy for the Seltzer, so we're opening up new states. and then doing live shows and all that other stuff with the distributors. Yeah. So it's been wild. Watching Hulk Hogan go through it now too is at his age, he's just like, brother, it is. I am tired.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm exhausted. Let alone our age, But if we can come, I would definitely love to come and see in person because I haven't seen him come out since 2002, I believe. That was the last time I saw Mike Tyson fight in person, and it was against Lennox Lewis. I was in Memphis, Tennessee. And that was the big buildup of what was going to happen between Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. And Lennox Lewis flattened him. Yep. And the energy and the electricity in that crowd was still something I'll never forget. So, yeah, would it be cool? The kid inside of me wanting to go see Mike Tyson one more time in an arena that Dan and I think is the best in the United States of America.
Yeah, it's going to be packed out, like 70, 80, 9,000 people just screaming.
Yes. By the way, no shame in losing to Lennox Lewis. Everybody lost to Lennox Lewis.
I know, he was great. He was a great champion.
I think he's the best heavyweight of all time.
He was very underrated because he was a quiet guy.
Yeah.
And then once he got wrapped up in Hollywood, that's when I bet against him in that Rockmont fight.
Yeah.
Because he didn't train. A buddy of mine was on set of, I think it was Ocean's 12, and said, man, all he's doing is fucking eating and just hanging out with Clooney and those guys. And I was like, he's got to fight in Africa in altitude, so we put all the money on him, and he got knocked out bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he ended up coming back, winning the belts again, and then going on to have a big career. But I think because he was such a quiet guy, you kind of forget about it.
I mean, the number one heavyweight of all time is Muhammad Ali, probably, but he was not a quiet man.
No,
right?
and that's what I loved about him.
Yeah.
And that's what we love about me personally. That's what I love about Jake Paul. Like, I love all the promo. I love the fights behind the scenes or stealing hats and everything else. Like, that's what it used to be. So it is nice to see that because we don't see that much of it in boxing anymore.
I think people want to watch characters. They're just narratives. I, in some sense, like, what is sport? You're essentially just having some sort of like competition transplanted onto your favorite team.
It's a TV
athlete.
show.
Yeah.
That's what it really
entertainment.
is, right?
Yeah.
It's entertainment at the end of the day, and there's nothing more entertaining than this.
Yeah, it's like backyard high school, like backyard fights. It's like, all right, people talking shit, and let's see who wins.
And the interesting part too is the scope of the demographics of it. My 10-year-old is asking to go to the fight.
I mean, even the Logan Floyd Mayweather fight, we're down I don't know, 20, 30 feet from the ring, and I'm looking around. I'm like, this is all children.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing here? There's two grown men fighting, but there's children.
TikTok stars running around everywhere.
And then we saw a dude. I think it was like a retired cop or something. Like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just here with my kid. Like, and his kid, and then like 10 other of their friends were all there together to watch the fight. I'm like, do they even know what boxing is?
Yeah.
No, but they wanted to see their favorite internet personalities.
Yeah.
And then now, especially, because my oldest is 10, like he's locked into YouTube, doesn't care about any form of television, and all his favorite people are the Jake Pauls and the Mr. Beast and the,
It is very fascinating. I think when I talk to the old school boxing heads, it's like, it's basically a bunch of TikTokers running around at these Jake Paul fights. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's just like fascinating just to watch the ecosystem because in the social media world, like their competition is, can you collab with bigger and bigger people? And getting like a selfie with Jake Paul is like a Super Bowl like challenge for them essentially.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like a funny dynamic to watch that. But it's very interesting. Like you mentioned Hulk Hogan, like Hulk Hogan was in the Tampa fight. When Jake fought Mike Perry.
Yep.
And then Hawk Tuah girl was there. And it's like very interesting to see that like Haley Welch Hawk Tuah girl I think was literally arguably more popular than Jake Paul at his Jake Paul fight. It was like wild to just like see all these interactions.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is. And now we're all trying to figure out, all right, who are the people we look up to? For me, with the Paul brothers and like Sugar Sean O'Malley, I enjoy the fact that they are good at what they do. They have made this crazy pivot, and then they have these amazing businesses that are making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So how did W come about? Because I remember the morning that I saw it, it was in my face, and it seemed coordinated against like everybody's social media account that I follow, and I was like, holy shit, what is this product? And it's a brand new deodorant. Boom, it's available at Walmart right now. Now, us knowing this side of the business with the seltzer, I'm like, dude, how do you immediately get into Walmart overnight without planning that out, having the meetings, and all that other stuff?
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that?
Yes, I think this is actually pretty exclusive. We haven't really talked too much about how we put everything together. But I think last time I was on, so Jake and I have a venture capital firm, Anti-Fund. And we started off doing minority investment deals, but we quickly realized that we should be starting controlling companies. And I think going back to like the famous fleeting, I would say like the second corollary from that statement is that if fame is fleeting, then the time in which you advertise in your prime is your most valuable advertising slots. So you could either rent that advertising slots to a big corporate multinational, or you own and you are the product company, you are that brand that owns that equity. So I think Jake and I, from very early in when we were doing business, when we started, this was 2021, we aligned quickly around that. And it also ties back to that point around just, I think Jake saw through his brother that a lot of this stuff can be very fleeting. I think Jake's also runs his own personal issues with like being canceled and fighting through all of that.
Yeah.
So I think the urgency and the wisdom was very, very high for at the time he was 24. And that's what I meant. Like, the amount of life they've lived is very. They probably had a longer life in being 27, 29 now than most people have in their entire lifetime in terms of the repetitions, interactions, conversations, and the rooms they're in. So it's like very interesting just from a wisdom plus energy plus like touch on like the cultural pulse and just like a clearly proven genius level execution on a number of different attributes.
Well, some of it is just business and marketing principles at its core, though. Like the idea of investing in something that you have share in is the old idea of vertical integration. The reason that all of this exists is because General Electric had ovens to sell, and they created television so they could sell their ovens on television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here we are today, right? It's like these are principles that have stood the test of time.
Yeah. And I like businesses like that, right? I think the best businesses are actually very simple. If the business model is too complicated,
too many points of failure, right? Something's
points
going
of
to fail.
failure,
Yeah. And then why deodorant? I mean, look, I know we all need it every single day.
That's
I'm
why.
gonna try it out live on air.
Why a coffee company?
No,
Because 65% of Americans drink 1 cup of coffee a day. That's why.
Totally not that. I mean, for you personally, what was the conversation like of, all right, what's the product we're going to make that could be global and branding and everything else? Because your branding is sick.
Yep.
You obviously can't feel this to the screen, but this is Matt.
Yes.
This is what we use on the first round of Hard AF Seltzer, too. It's Matt's expensive.
Yeah, it costs more.
Sure does.
Yeah.
But it makes the product look incredible and that you have to have it. So what was that initial conversation of, all right, we're going to do a deodorant?
Yeah, so going back to like how did this come together? So I remember after his Anderson Silva fight, this was probably end of 23. So I think when we were last on, this is before we were thinking about doing W. How does it feel?
It's great. I'm putting it on right now. It smells unbelievable.
Smells like a winner.
Yeah.
There you go.
My God, dude. This is really great, actually. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, Geoffrey. You guys don't miss.
Hey, we work hard. A lot going behind the scenes. But so we were starting to think. This is probably actually winter 2022, actually. So there's 2 metrics that we looked at when we start a brand new business. One, I think it has to be authentic to Jake. So I think Jake's persona around locker room humor, speaking towards young men, him having these like memories of Axe chocolate spray being the coolest thing when he was a middle schooler, was something that he generally thought was, hey, where is that in 2024? Everything he looked at when he goes into a Walmart, it's just the same stuff that he saw that his dad saw. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a genuine interest in the cultural component of that personal bathroom, that relationship with all of your fans who are like young men growing up, and they're like, hey, what does my personal routine look like? So I think the most important thing is like just actual authenticity towards like the product area.
Well, that's affinity-based marketing, though. Again, another timeless principle.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a commodity everyone uses. I'm going to make it for people like me.
Yes.
That's it.
And then the second component is just looking at the market sizes, right? So if you have someone of Jake's install base, you got to choose a massive market, right?
When you say install base, you mean the ability to have a massive audience right up front without any of the barriers to entry that like if 2 random dicks just decided to start a deodorant company, it's going to take you some time.
Correct.
And a lot of money.
And you can't get into Walmart initially.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So when I mean install base, it just readily available attention. So I think. So it's a little bit of a segue here, but I think the two most valuable commodities in today's world is you need capital, you need money to get things like atoms moving around, but arguably attention is more scarce.
Eyeballs, yeah.
Attention. So if you can marshal attention, oftentimes like capital will follow. And Jake, and I think these YouTubers, like this generation of like Gen Z influencers, I think a less understood principle is that usually for a Hollywood celebrity or an athlete, you buy their NIL, you buy their name, image, likeness, but they do not have distribution. Like you have to pay twice to get their ads in front of people's faces. Right? You buy an NBA player. Yeah. NBA, the TV channel owns their distribution. They can't go shill stuff. Like the league owns them, and then the TV channel owns them.
So you spend $3 million on the athlete, then you spend another $5 to $7 million getting it in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you pay twice. So I think the interesting arbitrage with the new generation of celebrities is that they are their own media channel. And arguably, they're a better trained media channel because their audience is used to just watching them live their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're not used to seeing our favorite NBA player, like, behind the locker, like, in their house, like, hanging out with them. But for kids growing up watching their favorite YouTuber, it's like that's a relationship.
And by the way, that's way more like even for people that aren't as famous, as long as you control your own audience, even micro influencing, but having 1,000 micro influencers is way more effective than putting any money into television.
Correct.
By far, it's not even close. The returns are not even close.
Yeah, and it's all changing very, very rapidly. And again, I'm seeing it with my own kids where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. All the products they buy, it's from their favorite YouTubers or whoever it is. It's not Saturday morning cartoons anymore. Like it's changing so quickly. And I also think they're becoming smarter about starting businesses and monetizing things faster. So even my kid is just like, all right, Dad, I like making videos with my friends and all that other stuff. And he's good at editing and they're funny. And he was like, with TikTok, how do they pay you? I was like, that's a great question. But they already know at 10, 11, 12 years old. And then they see a Jake Paul and say, well, how do I get the Lambo? How do I do it? How do I, like the Nelk boys? How do I get the Lamborghinis? How do I get the gold and everything else? And it's like, well, the work ethic still has to be there. It's not just you put up a video and boom, you're famous overnight. The Hawk Tuah girl's small example where you're just like, holy shit, one
she
10-second
clip. On accident. Now she's monetizing it. But I think kids are more savvy about it.
Better, our gaming company signed her podcast, so we're behind her podcast.
Get the fuck out of here. And isn't it like, Delco, didn't you say it was number 4, I think, the other day on Ross Patterson Revolution? Didn't you tell me that?
No, it was
number 4 in the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The numbers are crazy.
And we actually used her example on the show. Yeah, you don't remember that? So there's a meme now going around with college kids watching Hawk Tuah inside the fraternities. Have you seen that on TikTok?
I know that like Mr. Beast like booked out like I don't know. I think people are like, oh, she's an industry plant. Like I'll confirm she's not an industry plant.
We said that before too. We were wondering. We were like, hey, so just a normal girl, right?
Yeah.
I said it was a normal girl.
Unless like she's freaking opping like Jake, myself, the entire Better team. No, like we've sat down, we've spent a good amount of time with her. I mean, she was a 21-year-old working at a spring factory, like literally making metal springs.
Really?
And I think this is public. Like her mom's like legit crack addict outside of her life, so she's like not talking with her mom. Lives with her grandmother, has a few of her girlfriends.
That's wild.
I think they went out one night and then they're a little loose, and
it was just one interview.
Yeah,
and 1 second, 10 seconds clip went viral.
Yeah.
But typically that doesn't happen. Whereas I feel like the Paul brothers, this has been a slow build for them.
They've been trying. It's been
15 years. Yes, because they started very young.
Yes.
And then they've had to pivot along the way, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Not only from YouTube but to boxing, and now Logan is in wrestling.
Yep.
And he's very good at it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
That guy's just like fucking athletic, man.
He was born to do that.
Yeah.
When I watch him, I'm like, man, that is somebody who was genuinely born to do that.
Yeah.
Boxing's a different story. Boxing, one bad knockout and who knows, right? Yeah. Whereas WWE, you can do that forever if you want to. Is that a thought? if Jake gets out of this, does he go into?
I think this conversation, I think
WWE.
Jake's very open-minded. But I think the way I would describe the difference, just knowing these guys personally, I would say Logan is much more of a creative artist performer. Like, I think he would consider himself like an artist and an entertainer.
Okay.
Where I think Jake would think of himself as an athlete and a business person. Like, Jake likes going to the cap tables, looking at the shareholder. Like, he actually likes that stuff. And like Jake and I were like, hey, let's teach Logan this stuff. He's like, he'll say, I'm retarded. I don't understand math.
Well, yeah, there's always two
It's like,
sides
dude, like
of it. Yeah.
it's like, come on, you're cutting yourself low here. You're doing great. But
The reality
I think
is
it's
he just
personality.
doesn't want to do it.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
what
think he wants to
really
do
is,
it.
Yeah.
Well,
Which is
look,
fair, because you don't want, if he doesn't want to do it, don't have him do it. Put yourself in your core competency.
Yes.
That's the startup Bible.
Yeah.
It is.
Get yourself back into your core competency as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And and I'm one of those people who I don't mind sitting in the meetings, listening and learning, because all these stories are crazy, fascinating, and I think you can always take one nugget out of those conversations and use towards your own company in the future, where you're like, oh, okay, cool, I see how this guy did it or this guy did it, and then kind of use that for the future. But it's time consuming. That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
When you're on these calls and you're in these meetings and all that other shit, it is very time consuming.
Yeah.
Whereas, a Logan probably wants to work on his craft, and Jake too, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Does he have hours built out in the day of all right, 4 hours for boxing and training, and then,
Yeah, Jake is quite programmed.
Is
Again,
he?
I think people underestimate the discipline. Like, as it sounds like you guys know a bunch of athletes, celebrities, right? Like, these people, to your point, like, now that I've met a lot of these people, like 90% of them are just actually stupid. They don't, outside their craft of being really good at hand-eye coordination with like a ball or like singing or dancing, because they've been so successful at that, they haven't had a chance to. I'm sure you've tried to have conversations with some of these like A-list celebrities. They don't even have content to talk about.
Terrible.
It's weird.
Terrible.
Like, you go out to dinner with like A-list Hollywood celebrities, and it's like, I feel like they have like, I'm cool, but like, hey, let's have a normal convo.
Well,
They
it's
just
like-
have no content.
Yeah, it's like, what do you got going on? Oh,
Yeah, they're like,
Like,
yeah.
what do you mean, No, like, there's
Yeah,
a lot
like,
going
what do
on in the
you-
world.
Like, what are you
the fuck
thinking about?
doing?
Yeah, what are you thinking
Yeah.
about? They don't. They don't. Again, I don't want to sound like. I don't think they need to think that much. They just get like shepherded around. With
They-
their
they do.
management.
But the ones who do, though, are elite.
Correct.
Right? Well, if you can, and I've said this for years, mostly about athletes, but it's true of any celebrity. When you have the ability and the drive at the same time, then you're Michael Jordan, you're Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
right? You're LeBron James,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Like that, you go from being Dwight Howard to being fucking LeBron James,
Yeah.
frankly. Look, I like Dwight Howard, but he should have been the best basketball player that ever lived.
Yeah.
He's got the perfect body for it and the engine for it. It just didn't have the drive.
Didn't put it.
know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Kobe always said that about him too, and it was just
it's like, man, what a disappointment. But
Yeah.
whatever, he still did fine. But it's like we like that eliteness. I love seeing it. I mean, even when you hate somebody, like LeBron's not a very popular guy in a lot of ways, but it's still pretty fun to watch him play basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's great.
I think you respect the game, right? You
Yeah.
respect the amount of attention, and just even getting his son into the Lakers too, right? Like, that's a business move.
Nobody's ever done that before.
Right? I mean, it's straight up
it's a
business move.
business move, but what does it do to that kid if he fails horrifically when the season starts? That's what I wonder, because I don't think he's on the level to be in the NBA. And then what does that do to you for the rest of your life? I'll go back to Jordan. Jordan's kids, one of them went to UCF.
They both did.
Yeah, and he averaged, 22 points a game?
Not that many, but he was the primary scorer.
Yeah, I mean, way more than LeBron's kid.
Yeah.
And he couldn't go pro. And then LeBron got his kid in there, averaging 4 points a game. I think it's going to be a rude awakening, and hopefully it doesn't fuck him up the rest of his life.
But I think you have the
We'll
shot,
see.
right? Like, I think that Bronny has a chance to be great, and at least his dad gave him that platform, right? If that's where there's some level of respect. Like, if you would do that for a friend or your kid, like, all power to you.
We would all do it for our kids, I think, if they asked.
So I don't blame the move. It's just
I would not do that.
but like, if you let him fail, if he fails, he fails. At least he tried.
Yeah.
That's what I agree with. So,
Right.
because they're going to fail.
Like, you can't carry him. You can't
No.
play the ball for him.
No.
But at least he has a shot to compound, right? Like, I think a lot of people fight tooth and nail to even have the opportunity. He probably, on merits, does not deserve it. But life is not meritocratic, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah. And if we're talking about top line success, forget about just the success of celebrity, but again, as you said, attention, eyeballs, whatever you want to call it, is the name of the game, and it always has been. right?
Mm-hmm.
It is when James Altucher talks about skipping the line, there's no quicker way than having eyeballs on you. Even if that's what they mean when they say all press is good press, even if it's negative.
Yep.
The people that have been able to capture that, who have started brands, Gwyneth Paltrow with Goop, for example, or George Clooney with the fucking booze company, or Ryan Reynolds with the booze company, or Mint Mobile. These people who have been able to turn the eyeballs on them into cash for their family. That's an elite move.
Yeah.
Right?
And with Gwyneth Paltrow, I never liked her. I never liked her. And then once she had Goop, and then the prices started coming off and the ridiculous shit she was doing, we bought the vagina candle. It's over there.
Okay.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
We'll play with it after the pod.
Yo, I'll let you smell it for sure. I'll light it up for you.
Okay.
But
It's not as good as your deodorant.
it's close. It's a great smelling vagina. And if that is hers, God bless her, obviously.
Is it actually the
That's
value
what she
prop?
says.
She
But
says.
what the fuck does that
But it
even
was
mean?
like $80 or whatever it is,
Okay.
and we got it for like a gag for the show. We
Yeah.
lit it and smelled it and all that other stuff. But for me, like we'll take her for an example. The turning point was people were coming out with the backlash of how much her products were. She goes, "Look, this is a website for rich people, and that's a whole segment of audience too. Like, sorry if you can't afford this shit. I can, my friends can, and that's why I made this website. And if you can't, no big deal. It's not for you." And I was like, oh, all right, well, shit. Now I'm in. It's when people try to fake it and put out shit that isn't their brand or isn't, when you're like, man, I don't fucking buy that, bro. Like, I just don't buy that. And then it actually made me like her more.
Yeah.
And I never liked her.
Yeah, I think people just need to be more forthright. I think people think they're too smart; they can trick people. But I think to your point, if you understand that MBA is a money-making business, it throws off billions of dollars of profit for their owners, and you realize that it's not a competition for the best athlete in the world. It's like, hey, we're making entertaining sports product and capturing share, and why baseball needs to potentially update its rules, why there's like new alternative leagues, why private equity funds are investing in teams. These are products for us. So I think once you realize what the actual rules of the game are versus what we imply or impute onto the product, then I feel like the world just makes much more sense.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of this risk aversion stuff that's coming about as a result of, one, just people being pussies these days, but also, some of the infiltrative stuff like DEI and ESG and shit like that. And then these companies like old school Americana brands are falling victim to this. Like, you've got to know your audience, man. You don't have to capture 100% of people. You don't have to make everybody happy in business. As a matter of fact, you've only got to make about 3 to 7% of just your audience happy, right? And you can turn that into a real business. Brands like Jack Daniels, who had to, Robbie Starbuck lit them up. They had to get rid of all their DEI CRT bullshit. It was them, Harley Davidson, Caterpillar, all of these companies, or John Deere rather, not Caterpillar, all these companies whose primary customer is a red state American, right? Are doing this stupid shit. It's like, look, man, I understand that there's social pressure and blah, blah, and then corporate pressure to some degree as well. But you've got to have somebody in the room that is a reasonable adult that's sitting on your board and saying, hey, you know what? This is going to cost us big time if we do this.
And I think it's okay, right? If they lose market share because they no longer understand their audience, good riddance.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Right?
To me,
it's like,
I certainly don't want to protect them, because that's just the name of the game.
Right, like if you're
there.
Budweiser, it's like, cool. If you want to use that as like the new mission statement for your company, that's your company. That's your shareholder value. Like, if that makes you a lot of money, you deserve it. If it loses a lot of money, hey, you also deserve that as well. So to me, it's like I love, like, America's great capitalism is great because, again, going back to consequences, if you do something great, you deserve all the glory and the money. If you do something bad, you get punched in the face. Deal with it, right? And I think it's like we're in a society where like no one wants to deal with the problems or the downside anymore.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, think about if we, instead of bailing out banks, just let a depression happen in 2008, for example, right? By today, we would be in a much stronger economy than we are right now. It would have sucked for a little while, right? But the economy from the mid-1940s through the 1960s was better than America's ever had, right? And it was following a depression. Now, obviously, there was a war going on then. And that does help to generate. What it helps is to move money around the economy, right? But stopping the consequences from happening to people that do stupid shit. Look, that's one of the biggest problems with startup companies. somebody comes in with a lot of money and they're able to spend their way out of lessons that they should have learned, hard lessons.
Yep.
And they keep making those mistakes over and over for years and completely butt fuck their company at some point, right? Like it becomes exponential over time. And at some point, like, oh my God, what do we have no money. BuzzFeed, you mentioned earlier, is a good example of that. They were generating something like $2 billion of revenue a year for 10 years, and they never made a dollar. They weren't profitable for any amount of time ever in the history of that company.
There's not a lot of companies that are, because we were talking about BuzzFeed before the show, and there's not a lot of companies that are, and then they end up selling. You can see the potential or whatever they're going to sell for, but it's strange.
Well, I think people conflate business models too much. I think too many people made money in Silicon Valley selling non-profitable businesses with really interesting technology or really interesting moats. So I think that trained a lot of entrepreneurs to be like, hey, as long as they grow really quick, I can sell my property.
You know what it reminds me of is Ryan Howard from The Office. Just a dreamer. He's like, the first rule of Silicon Valley is never worry about money. I'm like, oh, is it? Yeah. You want to run a real business, you better fucking worry about your cap table. Son.
Well, it's just like, I think there's some truth to it in the sense that, like, okay, if you're building AGI and you actually have, if you build it, you'll be a trillionaire. Okay, people will bet into that.
Sure.
But if we're selling deodorant or selling ketone shots or selling seltzer,
every penny
no,
matters.
like we're not building AGI. Like you have to be self-aware about that.
Every penny matters.
It sure does.
Because those extra pennies you spend on this feature or that feature or whatever, that's your net revenue that you're spending.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? So good luck.
So again, it's like you got to understand the game you're playing. And I think people just sometimes get confused which game they're playing. Like I think even with it's very interesting like what Mr. Beast is doing, right? Like he's like taking venture capital money to fund his YouTube and his businesses. And it's like
Feastables,
they did Lunchly.
Yep. He got out of the Ghost Burger thing.
The Ghost Kitchen.
Yeah,
there's
the
just
Ghost
too
Kitchen,
much
Mr.
liability
Beast.
with that stuff.
Well,
no
you couldn't control the
Yeah.
product. That's what it was. And with him, I knew it because again, my kid was just like, he'd come into the office and he's like, Dad, I want the Mr. Beast burgers.
I mean, there's a Ghost Kitchen still over near the airport.
There is, but Mr. Beast is out of it, and we had it. We ordered it to the office that day for him. It was awesome. Like we liked the burgers, and it was great. Second time, it was dog shit. And I was like, I couldn't figure it out. And then I went online, and it's
Ghost Kitchens.
It is.
Yeah.
And it depends on which Ghost Kitchen you got it from on that day, who gives a shit. And it's like, you think people give a shit if Mr. Beast is making another $1, like in that Ghost Kitchen? No, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They're just going to throw the product out there. I think it was smart when he transitioned into chocolate and things like that, where you can control that product more. But with him, he's taking venture capitalist money behind the scenes to build all this? Oh, really?
Yes. I don't think it's that publicly reported, but I think it is out there. I don't want to speak too much on other people's businesses.
I mean, you can find that on tech profile sites.
Well,
no, it's pretty in the background.
I know that he fought for an evaluation. Somebody tried to buy him out for $1 billion, and it was everything that he had. It was all the YouTube channels. It was all the chocolate bars and everything else that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
He said no, and he said, I'm taking this to a company to get evaluated, and I think it came back at 1.5. And so he goes, look, I'm worth 1.5 billion right now. So if we want to do that, maybe we can talk, but right now we're not doing this.
So I'll just say that he's backed by big venture capital is behind Beast.
Then how do you crack through the YouTube system then? Because that's
Don't swear.
I understand that, but
don't do controversial things.
There's
or
a
don't swear.
million people, more than that, millions of people who are trying to be the next Mr. Beast or whatever it is. How is he able to maintain it? I mean, I watch it with my kids, and I'll say this. The last video that I watched with him was kind of a survivor video where it was like, hey, you got 5 people on each team, you get $500,000, and then you stay in the forest for however long you can. And you got to survive off of whatever's in the forest.
Yep.
And it was 32 minutes. He's doing long form content now. And I was locked in with my kids, like for real. Like me, my wife was in, and I was like, oh shit. I think the production and it seems like he's a team of writers maybe or something, but and then the people that were out there.
He has 300 plus employees in North Carolina.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
God damn it.
No, he has a lot. He has a lot of overhead. Again, I'm not like a YouTube I'm interested in what he's doing from a business academic perspective. So I think I think his unique advantage is that he does not need to generate profit I think that guy is straight up all in. And I think his advantage is money. He can outspend on prize money on production than anybody else. So he's built a flywheel where he can fund his YouTube videos with venture capital dollars.
Because the prize in that one was $500,000, and he got these 4 people.
So yeah, if the three of us want to do a YouTube channel, we're not spending $1 million in prize money.
No.
Like that is unit economic negative.
Yeah,
We are burning capital.
Burning capital.
Correct.
And the first girl out in that video, that challenge, he goes, "Hey, so we're gonna pull you aside. You want to leave today? What do I get? You get $100,000 in this fucking suitcase." She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm out of here. I'm not staying in the forest." And like took the $100,000, and you're out of there. Well, then the winner's got $500,000, so $600,000 just in prize money.
Correct.
Then you shoot this video. It ended up 60 days out in the woods.
Yep.
Just from a production standpoint, you still got to pay the camera people and the sound people and everything else to stay in the woods for 60 days. So like that video alone probably cost production-wise close to $1 million.
Yeah, and I think that's where I think, again, people do not understand. They haven't done the math for Beast's business model. The CPMs, especially for his audience, which is a lot of international, a lot of kids, are not valuable CPM. So the videos structurally are unit economic negative.
Really?
So his bet, right? Like this is the venture bet, which I think his business is riskier than most people understand. His bet is that he's building enough enterprise value and cash flow from his operating businesses to subsidize his money losing videos.
So it's almost like you're spending all that money just on marketing your products, and then the products are what's going to be worth the most when he ends up selling all this shit.
Well, I think he's a true believer. I think Mr. Beast thinks he's Elon Musk.
I do too. And I've heard a couple interviews with him, and my kids maybe watched the documentary.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I was really impressed because his work ethic is exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. So like he's locked in and has figured out everything from a very young age and is continuing that. I agree with you. I think it's the same thing.
But his business model is less direct than what Elon Musk is doing. Elon Musk is like, I'm going to make a rocket 10 times cheaper than Boeing and the other launch vehicles, and I can charge and I can make 80% margin on a launch. I'm going to make an electric car cheaper than the other guys. Right? It's a very direct business model. So I think the challenge for Beast Holdings is the business model that they're implementing is actually quite novel. It hasn't been done before, where you're basically doing money-losing content to then subsidize marketing and distribution for your products companies.
I mean, that's almost what television and radio were for a very long time.
But those were standalone profitable.
Yeah.
They were
until
standalone.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we see what's happening as they're not standalone profitable, right?
Even Netflix said, "Hey, dude, we're only doing budgets at like $500K right now per show. So like we're done making the, $80 million rock movies over there because we're losing fucking money because they're not monetized."
Correct, because I think it's like just the mistrust of institutions and the decentralization of information. So like people like us can compete with Netflix because if we just say more interesting shit, people will watch us instead, and we don't need all the fancy like fake production value stuff. Like when I don't want to Jake has been on the Hollywood sets, Netflix sets, and what he does on YouTube, and he says the amount of people and the inefficiency of like a Hollywood SAG shoot.
Yep.
Like if this was like a SAG production in Hollywood, we have like 100 people staring at us.
Yeah.
There's people on cameras watching people on cameras to like watch us.
And I'll tell this story because I don't know if I told it to the audience, but we got close to getting bought out about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was Warner Brothers that owned this company. And they said, "Hey, here's where you'll be shooting and everything else." And we took a flight out to Austin, and I met with those guys. It was on a soundstage. It was all union. It was all Teamsters, everything else. And like they go, "So great, guys, we know you have all these shows and everything else. You have an hour to do them." And then we pull the sets off, and then the next podcast will come in and all this other shit. And I'm like, we don't do that. Like, we talk to whoever we want for as long as we want. I don't want to put a limit on that. 1, 2, what if the celebrity's late? And they
Which happens all the time.
Every day. Like, every day it happens, right? Or let's just say you want to chat with them for a little bit before you start the show.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, "Sorry, you can't do that." And then the show will get pushed, or it'll be a 4 or 5 minute show and everything else. And I was like, man, we cannot do this fucking deal. And that company is now bankrupt, which, I'm okay to say, but, and we made the right decision at the end of the day. But yeah, there's so much inefficiency on it where you're like, everything you're doing is not making the content better.
Right.
You're just paying all this money for shit that you don't need.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's not amplifying the content or distribution, then what's the fucking point? You're spending your net revenue on shit that doesn't make you money. What is the fucking if you're dipping into your profit to spend something on some new tech or another person in your company or adding a feature to your product and it doesn't generate revenue, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like, and when you get to a certain level, maybe people do it because like this is the way I want it and I'm rich. Fuck you, right? All right, cool, but do your thing, dude. But business wise, that does not make sense.
But then like upstarts should be able to eat market share.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think Google should like do what Musk did. Google should fire 80% of its people. And shareholder, it would make it like literally probably double productivity.
It's funny you say that. So like I live in a neighborhood with a bunch of Google execs.
Yep.
You know, obviously we're in Austin.
Yep.
And a lot of them say the same thing where they're like, man, I meet people and I don't know what you do. And they work in the company.
Well, I can tell you what. So they're all in on AI now because Amazon's got web services covered. I think it's impenetrable at this point.
Yep.
AWS is impenetrable at this point. So Google's going hardcore on AI. As a matter of fact, they're building, was it 9 nuclear facilities to power their AI plants around the country now, which is a fucking brilliant move.
Yep.
It's what major factories used to do with everything from wood burning to steam to every kind of other energy, hydroelectric, everything. There it used to be even textile mills back in the day would have their own power center. That's where Duke Energy came from in the Southeast.
Yep.
They came from textile mills, and they were like, "Hey, we're using so much power. We need our own power company that's reliable and is not being used by the people around us."
Yep.
Right.
And with you, the reason why we love having you on the show, and I said last time, hey man, come back whenever you want because I can talk to you for hours, is you're one of those guys who's not just focused on one product. You got a shit ton of things. You got not only the deodorant, Ketone IQ, which is our favorite.
Yes.
If I don't take a shot of this goddamn thing before I start the podcast, I feel like, all right, I'm going to be off today.
I want to chew another one. Are we?
Yeah.
We have
Yeah,
again?
take it.
Yeah, we've got a shit ton.
we got a shit
You
ton
mentioned
here.
Goop. Gwyneth Paltrow is actually a big fan and customer too. Like, it's
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, we love it. So,
Yeah.
like, dude, I'll take a shot of this and I tell everybody if I'm writing or right before the podcast, whatever reason, I'll take one with you. You're locked in, man. You're locked in for 4 hours and boom, I'm good to go and I don't shake. Like that shit I used to drink at the gas station was fucking awful.
Talking about 5 hour energy?
Yeah, 5 hour energy. Some of those pills and those other shit, I was like, my God.
You know those patches that you buy to put on you that heat your like icy hot stuff. It's just a skin irritant. It doesn't actually make your muscle warm. It's bullshit,
Yeah,
right?
it's
and that's
sensational.
what most energy drinks are. Like it doesn't actually give you any real energy.
And now, especially, I don't know if you saw the news, but the 5 Hour Energy founder ran to Singapore. The government thinks he's like basically doing shell donations to tax or evade taxes.
Oh boy.
Not surprising.
So now it's like, yo, I want like fuck 5 Hour. You're not. If you make money in this country, pay back a little bit. Pay your taxes.
Exactly. What other companies are you in now? Because I know you're in a bunch.
Well, the one that I like is Cognition, actually. That's my favorite company you got going on right now because, well, you can explain it well, but I've been following it for a little while now, and we're talking about AI that makes software, essentially, right? It's an AI assistant. Now, you can program GPT or Grok or anything to become an AI assistant for you to some degree. Otter AI as well will do audio stuff for you, but to create like a full software suite is not something that's even been tried before, I don't think.
Yeah. So Cognition, founded by Scott Wu. There's like viral videos of him when he was in middle school.
No
There's,
relation?
Like, no relations.
Okay.
W-U.
Yeah, like Tim Wu.
Like he was one of those like math prodigies. Like there's like a viral clip of him doing what's called math counts. It's like Jeopardy for like math problems, and he's like a speed thing. Like this kid was like
Jesus
solving
Christ.
problems that like word problems that like people wouldn't even read the answer. So he's like one of those like bona fide like math proper like Asian stereotypical like fucking math genius dudes.
Stacking cups and shit.
Yeah.
No, it's like funny. One of my circles is like, there's like a group, I would say like Silicon Valley tech VCs who just like almost like idolize, like have you heard of like International Math Olympiad, IMO, IOI, like basically all the Olympiad math competitions.
We had a memory champion on the show a few months back too. Like, all those weird competitions that you're like, all right, I heard about somebody's cousin being in it, but I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Yeah, so like there's like this weird stream of like people like idolizing these like math Olympiad gold medalists as if they're like NBA champions. So he's like one of those characters in there. But yeah, Dan, to your point, I mean, they're trying to build an AI engineer, and it's one of those interesting routes. Is that like a better path to get to AGI, right? AGI, general intelligence. When you're programming or coding, like LLMs today, like what ChatGPT is, it just predicts the next word, and that seems like that it's proven to be much more deep in terms of how that reflects intelligence. If you think about us as humans, we're just generating words right now.
Sure.
Like our process is like, hey, what is my next word that's coming out? So are we just like giant LLMs? But with programming, it seems like you need to do more planning and reasoning to like think 5, 10
Programming
steps ahead.
logic. Yeah.
So I think the underlying stealth dream of cognition is, can you actually is building an AI engineer a better path to get to AGI? But I think going back to like the nuclear energy question, I think it's actually interesting. I was actually talking to a friend who's building nukes for different countries, nuclear power plants. And I think it's going to be like an interesting nation state problem. I think it's in a very interesting national security question where I think every country will have to have a nuclear power plant with GPUs surrounding it, like H100s, H200s. So everyone will have like these AI brains that each country wants to have their own.
Yep.
And then it's like, instead of like nuking, the capital, maybe you got to like nuke their nuclear power plant and AGI cluster as like a first strike.
Oh yeah.
So like it would be. So I think every country is going to build their own national nuclear powered GPU clusters.
I agree, but then it's like, when does government get involved from other countries and say, all right, what are you using this for? Are you using to make nuclear bombs? Or are you making cool AI shit? Like, what are you doing with it? And
I mean, it's dual use, right?
Yeah.
So
that's where it's going to get wild.
I mean, the way that we've tried to control it so far is access to the fissile material, right? So we have international sanctions on things like heavy water reactors, like that are able to produce enriched uranium, for example, right? Because if you're in a country where you can dig it out of the ground, you're in a country where you can dig it out of the ground. There's not much anybody can do about that. But the tech required and the parts required to do heavy water reactor installations, they're hard to come by, right? So that's the way we've done it so far. But again, that it's just a matter of North Korea and Iran have already done this. You just fucking hire somebody or find somebody and find some rogue state or some old equipment, and you can put one together yourself, right?
I think the physics is well understood.
At this point, yeah.
I mean, it's
100 years old
1940s
almost,
physics. So I think if we wanted to like build one, we could like Wikipedia and read old physics textbooks. You could do the centrifuges and all that stuff.
In
I don't think
it's simple. Now a lot of
getting the
things are simple in
materials.
principle,
Yeah, that's the tough part.
Yeah.
I mean, even building the fire set that is required to start the reaction is something that you have to have very specialized parts for. Otherwise, it either melts or it blows up in your fucking face, right? So,
but
luck.
that's more of a policy question, right? Like if you were the owner of a country, that's probably what you're focused on, right? Like your obligation is to your own national interest, which is probably different from America's national interest.
I mean, it's going to change.
Play your game.
It'll change the power structure internationally to some degree, right? And we've seen this play out over the last, let's call it 60 years since Iran decided they wanted to take control back of their oil fields, basically in the 1960s, and it's all been political back and forth since then. The Cold War was heavily wrapped up in that because Russia had the ability to do that. They also wanted to run LNG lines down through Europe and blah, 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 all this other stuff. That's the reason they were in Afghanistan. One of the reasons we ended up in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? It's like all these things layer on top of each other over time. It'll be interesting to see as the power leaves, like from Russia and from OPEC and from the United States as far as energy production goes to Africa where all the fucking uranium is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that's going to do. Right now, China is way ahead of us in Africa. As far as cobalt, lithium, and uranium, they're way ahead of us. Now we've got the opportunity to do some stuff in South America, but it's been slow, to be honest. So it's the power centers on Earth. Like right now, and this is all. It's very interesting to see this through human history. Right now, as a result of us doing what we do in the Middle East, we don't like those people and they don't like us. But all that shit's going to change when it becomes nuclear. They will become irrelevant to us and vice versa because we won't be there fucking them up anymore. So now who's going to be our enemy in 40 years? Whoever's got the fucking nuclear material we need. Essentially,
Afghanistan,
right?
we still need the lithium. So I think there's probably just a lot of minerals and resources over there. But I think it's like interesting where, I mean, I think China is essentially doing like what East India Company, but to Africa, right?
Yep.
It's like a very corporatized relationship.
Exactly.
And again, I think like colonialism, like it's like bad word in America, but it's like, how do you, do you see that interesting policy proposal? You just like you corporatize Afghanistan. Like Eric Prince was behind this. I don't know why that wasn't more of an open discussion for our country.
We should have started that process in the middle 2000s. We should, and starting with lithium and cobalt weren't as big back then.
Yep.
They got big in the late 2000s, early 2010s. But tin, they have the largest deposit of tin in the world,
Yep.
and it's used in everything.
Yep.
Everything. It's used in everything. It's in aluminum. It's in everything, right? So why have we not? And I make this point all the time when people talk about this shit. Rich countries don't attack other rich countries, right? There is no Taliban if they're rich. Now, maybe they still have the name Taliban, but they're not cruising around cutting people's heads off or selling weapons to foreign country or any of the other bullshit they're doing if they're wealthy. Look at what happened in Saudi Arabia. Once MBS decided to drag that country into modernity, all this stuff starts to like taper off a little bit. And now we're dealing with Shia again instead of Sunni, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, that's just how it works.
They want to make money. They want a good life.
I'll say this phrase a million times, and it applies specifically to economic warfare. We think of economic warfare as sanctions and tariffs, but that's not what it is. It is putting people that are aggressive towards you in a situation where it is better for them financially to not be aggressive towards you.
Yeah.
As Abraham Lincoln said, if I've made my enemy my friend, have I not defeated him, right? Why the fuck are we sending bombs to places where we could just send money? And build infrastructure like, hey, this is your job now. You know who doesn't come to America is Venezuelans who have work.
Yeah, and they're
that
in
are
country.
rich.
Yep.
Peruvians and Chileans and Central Americans and Mexican people, they don't have to fucking come over our border if they're already rich where they are.
Yeah.
So why the fuck are we doing what we're doing? It's a very bizarre thing to me.
And there's pockets of it, and you see it, and you see what's going on. Was it Oaxaca? I just watched the special on that, and then tequila and how the whole thing's built around agave plants down there. And they're all fucking rich down there, and they're like, "Hey, we work hard, and we're making money, and it's great.
Yeah.
I have no desire to leave here." And you're like, "Oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
shit." But it depends on where you are and what you're doing. And then for you personally, in your real life, you've been known for doing like dietary challenges and things like that. Somebody wanted me to ask you about, did you do a 7-day water challenge only?
Yeah, 7-day water fast.
Okay, what is that and why? Why did you do it?
It means just not eating for 7 days.
Yeah, why?
And just drinking water.
Why?
That was actually one of the precursors of why we built Ketone IQ. So probably back in 2015, 2016, there was a lot of good data around fasting as a way to extend longevity. You've seen all like the longevity, like Brian Johnson's The World Blueprint.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of it's very interesting to me because it feels like every 5 years there's like a new like anti-aging guru that's out there. And I would say that a couple cycles ago, fasting and keto was like a very interesting route towards longevity benefits. So my interest around fasting was not for like weight loss. It was more just like I wanted to live longer. Like we're all just, I guess, egotistical. You don't want to die. So I'm a pretty just like I'm down to kind of try and like push myself. So I thought it was just like an interesting experiment to just track my biomarkers, track my blood.
Did you enjoy it?
No, I mean you're starving. But
I've known guys who've done it for maybe 48 hours or 72 hours or 24 hours.
But I think
not
it's
a full fucking week.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good experience because I think I truly understood what feeling hungry is. I think we realized that none of us are ever really hungry. We're just bored. Meaning that the joy and the serotonin and dopamine hit of like eating something yummy like just feels good. So I think a lot of us have been trained in a system of just like always expecting like a dopamine hit from like a snack or a food. And I think through not eating for 7 days, you just truly understand like what real hunger is, like what like the actual need of sustenance is, and disambiguating, hey, I'm bored, I need to like go like look for something to eat versus like, hey, I need to actually sustain my system. So I think it's more of like a spiritual and I guess like the spiritual side was kind of interesting. If you look at most religious traditions, like Moses like fasted 40 days in the desert, and like a lot of in the Greek academies, when you go train with Plato and Aristotle, they make you fast, right? Like a lot of Eastern philosophy, like monks, they're fasting. So I think there's something like very primal around fasting. It definitely affects your brain chemistry, and I think it's a practice that like just resets you. So to me, I think it's interesting from there's something traditional and like very primal towards human evolution, right? We were not evolved to always have snacks in front of us. Like humans evolved with fast and famine cycles, feast and famine cycles. So I think just like touching back into some of those primal cultural templates seems to be very valuable.
Why is it? Let's just say intermittent or short-term multi-day fasting. Why is that beneficial to people?
Well,
Like,
most of us are just overly fat.
Sure,
like
yeah.
most of us are just like straight up like diabetic, right? So
38% of the country is either diabetic or in pre-diabetes.
right,
It's
right,
fucking crazy.
right. It's like half obese, right? So it's like, I mean, I think it's higher. I think it's 70%. I think it's like it's like 40% like type 2 diabetic, and like it's pre-diabetes plus diabetics like 70%, right?
Type
like
2 is the kind of diabetes you earn, by the way.
Yeah.
Not the kind you're born with.
No.
Correct.
And the reason I ask is a friend had asked me to ask you about it, and he said, a lot of entrepreneurs will test the limits of their body and everything else to try to gain some form of knowledge or edge. I'm always looking for that, but I'm always curious as to why people are doing it. After you finished, was there something that you gained from it that you applied to business, or was it just for your personal life?
I think it would be too much of a stretch to say like I got some sort of enlightenment to like make my business strategy better.
Thank God, then. So then I can cross it off my list. All right, good.
Yeah,
That's all I wanted to know,
it's.
'cause I have zero desire to do that bullshit. So yeah,
I think it's that side's probably a little bit of bullshit. I think it's just more just like no, you can do hard things. I think a lot of business is like ability to eat pain. Like you have to do like most of business is not the fun stuff.
it's never fun.
Like I think people think that like you get to like travel, you get to do like meetings.
You don't get to travel. You have to travel.
Have to travel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah. And I think it's like what kind of pain do you want to eat? So I think having high pain tolerance is like the most important attribute for entrepreneurship.
That's one of the things one of the reasons in basic training that you break people down is for that very reason. Like you go into it maybe thinking you're an athlete, maybe thinking this, you have a lot of preconceived notions about yourself. But everybody in their brain, regardless, unless you're an idiot, which is beneficial sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah.
But everybody has a glass ceiling in their head. This is as far as I can go because that's as far as I've been. And you just push a little beyond that. And doing it enough times under enough stress, you start to realize, there really is no limit. Right?
Correct.
My limitations are based on my will and my preparation, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once you learn that lesson, we have a saying, you just got to put one foot in front of the other. That's what it is, right? But you don't know that until you get there. It's like I'd never run more than like 7 miles at a time. Back when I was in the Army, and a guy was like, "Hey, you want to run this half marathon?" And I thought about it, like, I probably can't do that. I've never done that before. And then I thought, well, when I first got here, I didn't think I could run 5. And once I ran 2, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna run one more, and then one more, and one more. And I ran a half marathon with no problems. I'm like, oh, you just keep running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a point where as long as you keep hydrating and giving your body fuel, you can just keep going, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with pretty much everything else.
Yeah, so I think Russ, I think the real answer is that I think you have to like self hypnotize why you're better than the negotiating partner across the table. I think if you have enough of these self-fulfilling stories that like I will out-eat pain more than you can, I will outlast you.
It also helps.
And you have that like edge.
It helps neutralize anxiety as well. Because what is anxiety? Like you go into something and you're anxious about it. It's because you either haven't or you feel like you haven't prepared enough or you shouldn't be there, right? That's what anxiety is.
Correct.
When you're prepared and going into something, you're like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean? That's a pretty powerful weapon, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah, but I've also tested it and almost died. So,
Fasting or
Almost.
No, just work. So I've been in and out of the hospital over the last 20-something years for pneumonia. Just not sleeping, staying up working, really late working on other stuff. And then when we were building the seltzer company, right before the launch, I had pneumonia again. And it was like my 4th or 5th time I think I'd been in the hospital for it. And the last one was a movie deal that I had, and I owed one more script on a 5-picture deal. Yeah. And I went to my doctor and I said, hey, dude, there's a big boy paycheck on the other side of this. A lot of people depending on me for this.
Yep.
And he goes, how long do you need? How long does the script take? And I was like, 10 days. I was like 14 days tops. And I was like, is there anything you can give me to get through this? And then I'll check myself into the hospital afterwards. He was like, yeah, man. I mean, I can. Because you got to go immediately. And that was back in the day when you had to turn in a hard script. Did it. The shit that I was on, I don't even remember writing it. But I turned it in. Deal got done. Happy times. And it was great, right? Seltzer Company pops up. The next one was a movie I directed. Same thing. Working late, crazy hours, everything else. Boom, was in the hospital afterwards. And then the Seltzer Company launch was the same thing, not sleeping and everything else. Now that one, while I was in, I got COVID on top of it.
Man.
And then I was in a coma for 11 days. So like, you want to talk about really pushing it. And it was like a 20% chance to live or something like that. And we were getting ready for this huge launch. And then boom, I'm out. Like, I mean, gone. 45 days I was in the hospital.
I feel like now you're too tough for your own good, brother.
It's not that. I don't look at it like
Yeah.
being too tough for your own good. But when you're passionate about something, you know, you're staying up late, you're working hard.
Yep.
Same as anybody else at home. Like, not that I'm fucking special. Like, everybody else has got a business. I don't care if you're a plumber or, you know, working on a tire shop or whatever. Running a small business is difficult. Launching a business is even harder and
Yep.
trying to get it out there. But at a certain point, your body, you know,
Yeah.
gives up.
So, yeah.
I just don't know my limit,
Yeah.
you know, until somebody says, hey, well, here's your limit. You're in the fucking hospital. But for you, I wonder if that's part of it of like, all right, I can test my body to a certain extent. And then how much can I push it before I end up
Yeah,
in the
no,
hospital?
I think that's what I think of like, I guess, a more nuanced point, right? If you are dead, your game is over.
Right.
Right? Like, or if you are sick, then not being sick is literally the only priority you have. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of my focus in terms of physical fitness and why I liked having, I get to like train with Jake and train with like all these great athletes. Not just like I want to be an athlete. It's like I just want to be harder to kill, be harder to die, just be more resilient.
Yeah, resilience is the name
Like
of the game.
if you cannot, like, I think work cadence and work pace is very important. But if you kill yourself and you cannot function if you're in a coma, like, holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Glad you're friggin' alive.
Yeah, it was really bizarre, but yeah. I didn't know if it helps.
You didn't know, but like, to me, it's like, this might be like the analytical approach, but like that is suboptimal performance because like most things, you'd rather be like slow and steady and compound versus like crazy sprints where like you pull a bender for like a week and then you just like are out for a week.
Well, you're not gonna like nobody wins the NASCAR or Indy F1 race if you don't change tires. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like maintenance is, especially with the human weapon, as we like to call it, is even more important, right?
Yeah.
Like constant maintenance of yourself, and there will be times when you don't have access to it. It just happens. Sometimes there's deadlines, blah, blah, blah. But you have to create habits that sustain you over time.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking work out 4 times a week no matter what happens. I'll figure out a way, even if I'm doing push-ups in my fucking hotel room on the road. You've got to do it. You got to find these left and right limits for yourself, whether you're a fucking plumber or whether you're running a Fortune 500 company. Otherwise, you're going to die young, right?
Yeah.
And you're not going to reach the levels that you could have otherwise. And you're not going to be as satisfied with it. Look, you finish whatever race that you finish and you win and you're happy about it and you go home and home life is fucked up and you feel like shit. Did you win? Did you really win?
Yeah, exactly. And like my home life is great. Great wife, great kids, all that other stuff. And we're super close and everything else. I think my biggest issue is I become obsessed with something.
Yep.
And then winning whatever that thing is. And then hopefully you hit it and you make the goal and it's great. But it's, you know, either constant thinking about it, not sleeping, and everything else of like, shit, I should have said this in this meeting. Or I should have put that in that contract, and then I didn't. And then you wake up in the morning and you're like, all right, can you do this and this and this and this and this? And I was up late till 4 a.m. And they're like, oh, shit, that was great. It was brilliant. Why'd you think of that? And I was like, I was up all night. I couldn't fucking sleep because it's tearing at me.
Yeah.
And it's just one minor detail and then an overarching thing. And you get wrapped up in it. And I don't know how to stop that.
Well, I think it's important for the individual to decide what winning means to them. You know what I mean? Like I'm in a castle and I need firewood and I go out into the woods and I collect all the firewood I'll ever need, but I lose my castle because I wasn't there. Did I win? No, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you use Maslow's hierarchy of needs as an example of this, but what are the base level needs that I require to be functional and content, happy, content, right? And it's just like a mission statement in a business. If everything I'm doing doesn't support this, if I'm venturing out and not supporting that mission statement, then I'm fucked up, right? It doesn't matter what I'm gaining in the process. I'm losing the thing that matters the most. It's just like, but it's difficult in life.
I think my take is I
think
think everyone great has your level of obsession. Like I feel very similar sometimes where like you can't turn your brain off.
Cannot. And that's the biggest problem is why I can't sleep, because I cannot turn it
So I
off.
have a lot of empathy towards that. I think anyone who has a chance to be great, like that is not sufficient. Like I think everyone who makes it to greatness is like you. Like you can't turn off. You have to do it. But I think the people that have, I think, more of a capability to compound is that I think you have. I've seen this with a lot of like some of the greatest. I think Jake is also very good at this, like almost like sociopathically good to context switch. Like you can just like turn that off. You like flip off. Next topic. I think a lot of people find it hard to transition state. Like you're in the thing and you're still thinking about the thing. You can't flip to the next conversation. Like Elon Musk, right? He runs like 17 companies, from like SpaceX to like tweeting on his toilet, right? Like how, and he's like playing video games, right? Like, like I like when over like the winter Christmas holidays, I like to like play a video game once a year. So like I see this guy Elon Musk playing Diablo 4. I've played enough to like understand like the levels of how much time he has to put into that.
Right.
Like, Elon's like definitely put in hundreds of hours into Diablo 4.
But
Plus he has kids. Plus he has all these companies.
But let's take Elon, for example. Like I watched him physically or mentally have a breakdown. Do you remember that interview he did for PayPal back in the day with, I think it was 60 Minutes?
Yeah.
And he talked about having a mental breakdown, crying in his office.
Yep.
I thought he was going to lose everything, and he drove himself to the brink of insanity.
Yeah.
And then one would think, at least I would think, you sell something like PayPal and get out of it, and you have all this money.
But he
Probably walk away.
He double downs again.
Oh, not only
Multiple
doubles,
time,
but
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
quadruples down.
Yeah.
SpaceX, Twitter, Tesla. I mean, it's endless what this guy is doing, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man! You almost died, or you almost killed yourself at that certain point, and then you decided to up the stakes and go even higher over and over and over again. Like, I don't even know how that guy's alive. And watching what he does, regardless of what you think about him and Twitter and everything else, like, it's so unbelievably impressive that, like, landing those rockets the other night.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I watched that video probably 30 times on repeat, just trying to wrap my mind around the technology of that and the engineering of that. And, like, he should probably win a Nobel Peace Prize or whatever it is that you give for something like that.
Yeah.
And he won't, because someone will be like,
Some
oh, he's
political-
Trump, man.
Yeah.
Vulcan loves Trump. But watching that video over and over again, that I reposted it because I just couldn't understand it. Like, he's doing things that's, would take 80 men for the rest of their lives, and he's just doing it. It seems like every 5 years there's something new.
I think there's two attributes. I've read and like know a lot of people that work with him. So I think his risk tolerance is very like abnormally high, but I think his objective function or how he calculates risk is very different from us. I think he generally brainwashed himself like, hey, I'm trying to do positive expected value for humanity. So like a company losing and like losing a lot of jobs doesn't trigger him as much as like a normal capitalist. And then I think too, his content switching ability is super high. So my understanding of how he runs meetings is that, like, say that you're like the astronaut expert. I will only talk to you about astronaut stuff for like 10 minutes. Boom. Next guy comes in, we're talking about social media algorithms. Boom. We're not chit-chatting about like
How's your
other
family?
topics.
No, he has. There's a rule in the employee handbook for all of his companies that says if you're in a meeting and you don't think you should be, get up and walk out. Also a rule, no meetings over 20 minutes. He's got all these rules. And look,
Really?
he did the work.
Yeah.
He baked all this stuff into the corporate structure of everything he does, and that's why it's successful.
And he will not talk to you outside your core competency. Like, we're not shooting the shit. Like, I only want to talk to you if you're the best in the world at your little thing.
Yeah.
I suck the information, learn, next guy.
He's just a smart guy. I mean, so you mentioned contact switching a couple of times. This is a business management principle, and it's one of the way that you physically organize your office is really important. You know the water cooler, right? You don't want that, and here's why. And you also don't want open office doors. You don't want any of this bullshit, because the average person, which is obviously most people, right, that are working at your company, the average person, if you interrupt them in the middle of a task, it takes them 15 minutes to get back on task at a minimum, 15 minutes, right? That happens 4 times a day. You've lost an hour out of that day. You've lost 1/8 of your productivity. You just can't allow that, right?
I mean, all that what it feels like. Oh, yeah, I got interrupted. Oh, I gotta check my phone.
Yeah, I gotta check my phone.
Social media.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Now you go bathroom. I'll get my coffee. Boom, hour's gone.
And in an average office, in an insurance company or something like that, it's all 4 times is conservative.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening all fucking day. And just the other note, like the cubicle stuff, it allowed a lot of people in a small space to do a lot of stuff, but I guarantee you the productivity of having people separated doing that same work is probably about the same.
Well, then
with far less personnel, right?
And the other thing too, to your point, is like how do you get people who are passionate about working at one of these places to actually care about the job they're doing, or is it just their paycheck?
Well, I mean, every company that Elon Musk has, the employees are incentivized to do better, right? And thankfully, it wasn't just Silicon Valley. A lot of finance companies did it back in the day. Fidelity Insurance, our buddy over there, really pioneered some of this stuff back in the early 80s, actually, where he would hire, and we had him on the show to talk about it like 6 years ago or some shit, Bill Foley from Fidelity. He would pay for barbers to come cut his employees' hair, to wash their cars, and then he set aside 10% of the company for like safe shares, essentially, for the employees. Like you work here long enough and you do a good enough job, you're getting a percentage of the fucking company, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to do it.
It is. Is that what you guys do?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in making people owners.
Yep.
Right. Like, hey, I think that the information around like truly wealth building is like pretty broad, right? Like you're not gonna like tell like an employee, hey, you're gonna scale with me. Like everyone knows about equity, right? So I think it doesn't have to be like crazy amount, but I think it's super important to make everyone a co-owner in your business. Like,
I agree.
You're not like.
Yeah.
If you
Consequences aren't just bad, by the way. Consequences can also be good, and it's why they matter. If I know, and this is the TPS reports, Office Space.
Yeah.
If I work a little bit harder, I see more fucking green in my bank account.
Yes.
That's who needs more incentive.
A lot
than
of
that?
incentive. And then I think too, what I think Elon uniquely does very well is that he wraps all of his businesses into really great humanity stories. Right? Tesla is not just a car company; it's changing the energy grid for like a greener future. SpaceX is not a rocket company. We're making humans multiplanetary species. Like Neuralink, it's like I don't think it's like, hey, we're putting this to solve like some neurogenetic disorder. It's like, hey, we want to make transhumanist like future singularity of like the robot human mergers, right? So I think selling, and I think so. Like, what is W's mission, right? Like, I don't think Jake and I don't describe W as it's a Axe Old Spice competitor. Although I think if we're cheaper and better than Axe, and like, the way I think about it is that young men need positive messaging around hard work ethic and winning. And we're doing that at a cheaper price than the multinationals with better ingredients that don't disrupt your hormones. Right? And so like we want people that like have that perspective. Like we're not here to cater to different audiences, right? Like we're here for boys and young men.
Yeah.
And inspiring them to do better. That's our mission. And yes, the effect in how we monetize that and how we keep the lights on is through personal body care products. So I think there's an art to crafting your company's product in a way that seems larger than life. And I think that's actually very important because I think we're all in this age where life isn't just about like trading your time for money. We want to be doing and putting our energy, our creativity in something that is meaningful for
Purpose
us.
matters,
Purpose.
yeah. It's you solve a problem with a product for profit. That's what a business is.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Right. And you will be, if you figure that out, you'll be successful. If you got to make smart decisions, you got to stick to it. Right. But I mean, look, 80% of businesses fail in the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another 50% fail within the first 3 years.
Correct.
So you're going to experience some failure, but I miss a lot of jump shots too.
Yeah.
But I think Elon seems impulsive to me, where I think Zuckerberg is much more strategic and thoughtful. Like I think Elon is not mad genius when he's like tweeting random stuff on his toilet. I think he is just very impulsive, right? Like arguably he accidentally bought Twitter because he was like, "Yo, I got it." And he like tweeted it, and he's like, "Oh, like, I mean, he tried to pull out. He didn't want to buy it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, like Delaware Chancellery Court's forcing me to do it. All right, I'm all freaking in.
But the weird thing is, like, it changed, like, media for what censorship was, in my opinion. Like, because
It's probably for the better, but like he didn't want to do it. He did not want to close.
It is because
like he didn't want it. He did not want it.
We're throttled on every platform, right? YouTube included, and everything else, just because we have controversial guests on and conservative, blah blah blah. But with this, when he took over, we saw the algorithm change for all of us at least, and I was like, holy shit, okay.
And it probably plays to his favor a little bit too, with how quickly things pivot in the natural world these days. In the short attention span of the average consumer, it probably does play to his advantage a little bit. So here's a good example of this. Google Glass and then the Facebook version of that they were toying around with back in 2016, 17, 18, went away. Oh, that'll never happen. Well, it's fucking back. And Meta's selling that shit like crazy right now, and they're making a bunch of money. So Zuckerberg was right, just too early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think if Elon had been in that market, he probably would have eschewed that, and then he would have been right today, right? Yep. Impulsively, and maybe that works out better for him, maybe it doesn't. You know what I mean? I think there's something to the experience that Zuckerberg's getting. You can see him transforming as a human being right now, going from, in my opinion, just a mindless corporate zombie
lizard
man affected by the powerful politicians around him to a guy who's hanging out with Gordon fucking Ryan now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Who's now a libertarian all of a sudden because he's like, oh shit, these people are fucking evil, right? But it's sometimes, for some people, it takes that experience.
Yeah.
Well, if he wants to take the block off our accounts, it'd be great. Because
we should get him to do that.
By the way, it still goes on. So like we just got nuked. It said until May of 2025. And all we did was post the picture from the New York Times of Trump after he got shot. He's got the fist in the air. And so like
that flags you on Meta products?
Oh, all of it across the board. So Instagram and Facebook, and I screenshotted it.
Yeah.
So I have it, and I can just pop it up and be like, all right, well, this is what it was. And nothing's being done about that still.
Well, some
of it's still going through.
I don't think there's an easy, and God forbid I would carry water for any of these people that censored stuff, but I don't think it's as easy as we think it is. You're unraveling layers and layers and layers of code at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very complicated, to be honest.
I get it, but is AI not there yet that you don't know?
I think
the actual picture from the New
Zuck
York
is
Times?
probably okay with that. I think there's like literally like that is not what he thinks about. There is some like little pocket of like privacy data, regulatory people sitting in some corner. They're just still doing their job.
Yes, that's what I think.
Right, and Zuck is like, yo, I'm trying to invent the future of computing.
And he's not there. Yeah.
So
that's what I think too.
Certainly not. Now you could tell how different of a dude he is today versus even like a couple years ago.
I mean, his role model was Augustus. I think the guy is very strategic. Like he would want to be president if he could. And I think he's like planning how to do that.
He might try at one point.
Yeah, I think it's a fair shot, right? Like good for him. He should try. I think he maybe could do it. And it was, I think Elon, like, realized, I think when he spent time with Trump, I think he realized how powerful it is to like be able to move like 80,000, 100,000 people. So I think Elon and Zuck are going to compete for who's the most popular human
Of all time?
Good.
in our generation.
Yeah.
Good, yeah. I mean,
Right? And I think that's a new calculation.
Competition's good.
Right? Like Elon, I own Twitter. Zuck's like, I own Meta. I own some of the most powerful social networks. I see the power of someone like Trump who can like provably move people. Maybe I can't necessarily do national politics yet, but so much of culture moves through these platforms. I control these platforms. If I don't become the most famous, interesting person in the world, I'm losing value. I think that's a calculation both Elon and Zuck are doing.
Yeah.
So I think you should expect them to be like literally the biggest celebrities. If they don't do it, it's like if you owned Hollywood and you could be like the main director, actor, and you aren't like the coolest person, like you fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're kind of fighting about now.
Well, at some point you realize you are the product, right? To some degree, at least. Like
yes, at their level, they know they're a product.
Elon is definitely the product.
Yes.
Like whatever he puts out, we'll do it, and just to see what it is, right? There was a bottle, what was it, shit cologne or stinks worse cologne or whatever it was.
I had no idea.
We bought it. And it came, and it was like, this is the worst smelling cologne of all time. It's literally what it was.
Yeah.
And they sold like 1,000 bottles or something like that. And we bought it, brought it into the studio once it came to the house. We were one of the 1,000 people that got it, and it was just to do it. the flamethrowers. Remember that?
Yeah.
We got one in the back.
Not a flamethrower.
Yeah, exactly. Not a flamethrower.
No.
But what was there? 1,000 of those or 10,000 of those made? And
that was
it.
like 1,200 or something. I think.
Yeah, and then that was it.
Cool, yeah.
We had one in the back. It's dope as fuck, and
Yeah.
then he just didn't think anything about it. And you're
Yeah.
like, all right, cool, man. You're just side quest
Yeah.
to do shit.
But I think it's also strategic on a business perspective. I think their biggest business risk is government regulation. And then how do you counter that? Well, you got to like buddy up like government officials.
Trump.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Elon. He's been threatened by the Democrats so hard. I feel like he's forced to be like, all right, either I try to stay neutral or I just go all in. But I think it's a very highly risky. Like it matches their personality, right? Like it's a very polarized bet.
Well,
Zuck is like, hey, I'm sorry for getting involved last time. I'm just kind of like out.
and Elon said so as much at that last rally. He goes, look, if Trump loses, I'm fucked. Because they're going to come
Kind
after
of.
my company and everything
Yeah.
else. Because I went all in on this and what I believe in. And yeah, to that extent, I think he's right.
Yeah.
Because they'll censor everything on fucking Twitter and probably take it away from him at some points, like they're doing with Messenger. What was that other app? That guy that got arrested?
Telegram.
Telegram. Yeah. So it'll be fascinating to see. At least we'll have some of the answers here in a couple weeks after the next election.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. Jeffrey, you're one of those dudes, man. I could literally fucking talk to you for like 4 hours here. We're not Rogan. I don't do that bullshit. Like, I know the audience is like, cool, man. I don't listen to fucking 3 hours. But now's the point of the show. We get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. Who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
Man, I did not prepare for this question.
That's what you said last time.
No, it's always good to like just feel grateful in terms of like
It is.
someone to think about.
Who's somebody now, right now, that you're working with or inspired by?
I think I've gotten to know this up and coming YouTube bodybuilder, Jesse James West. I don't know if you've seen his content around.
I have not. I don't know who that is.
And he's a new friend, and I think he's done like all the workout routines of like celebrities. So he's like, hey, this is Dana White's routine. This
Okay.
is
Oh yeah, I know this guy.
yeah, you've probably
Yeah,
seen him around.
yeah.
He's just grateful just like see like the energy. Like I think it's just like cool to see young upcoming people just like super high energy, super ambitious, keep compounding, keep growing.
Yeah.
So Jesse, you're my drinking bro of the week.
There you go.
There you
There
go.
you go. Follow his channel. He's got a YouTube channel.
He probably doesn't drink very much, considering the body. To be honest, he's
Well,
cut
he's
as
drinking
fuck.
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Hey, I'm sure we can get him to try a hard AF.
Oh,
so.
he'd love it.
No
sugars.
carbs and no sugars, at least. So you're good there,
Yeah,
Jesse.
that's just
if
ethyl
you
alcohol,
wanna-
buddy.
Yeah, that's all it is. But again, man, all the stuff you're doing is incredible. Ketone IQ. You can go to ketone.com/drinking bros for that. 30% off your first subscription. 6 free bottles. These little guys that I was drinking on the show here when you order that. And then W's everywhere, man. I mean, holy shit. This was just
That's
a
our job.
massive overnight success, it seems like. And I'm wearing it now. Smells great. Feels great. Congratulations, man. I think you got another hit on your hands. For real.
Yeah, we'll report in hopefully less than 18 months.
Yeah, please
catch
do.
up. Yeah.
Please do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're always welcome anytime because, again, Dan and I find these conversations endlessly fascinating. We can talk to some fucking dummy actor anytime, but, it's rare that you get somebody with your background
No,
and
it's fun.
entrepreneurial skills on the show. So thank you. Go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star and you can walk away. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.